Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Legendary Classics. This is episode number 2973 and Doubleshot number 2867. Okay, first up we're discussing Adventure Comics issues 381 to 389 and 391 to 400. So, basically discussing Supergirl stories. 399, well, I have partially discussed this issue already, thanks to discussing the Birds of Prey Black Canary trade. So, don't need to go over 399. And why am I skipping 290, 390? Well, there's a good reason why. It's a reprint. Mostly put, this is, I would say most of the Supergirl feature, but not the entirety of it. 381 is the start of this feature, and 324 is the end of the feature, but we're not going 324 here. So, there are some noteworthy things here. During the later issues, Supergirl does have a slight update to her costume, where she changes her belt, which she had that briefly before she switched to a different outfit. But that's kind of what they do here. They kind of give her like a little slit in the side for her skirt. Yeah, she made a slight update to her costume, but a lot of this book is basically her fighting her cousin, also her getting into a romance with a guy she likes, and then later finding out he's actually a robot who works with Brainiac. Yep. Oh, and so after 10 years, gets her a magazine that this is her first book-length novel. By the way, this book comes, basically, you're probably asking, why is Supergirl in Adventure Comics? What is Adventure Comics like? Okay, the bit of explanation for this. You see, prior to this, the big longer feature for this book was Lead of Superheroes, which had been a regular feature of the book since about 300-ish. Yeah, it featured for a long time in the book, and then for some reason I've not actually estimated about this, but Supergirl was a featured Action Comics. Now, I've covered it already in the Supergirl Silver Age Omnibus, because I actually have one of the copies of that. So, she and Lead Superheroes decided to swap books. She took over Adventure Comics, and Lead Superheroes took over Action Comics. And so, if you're really curious, who is the writer of these issues? Okay, Adventure Comics at this point is done by Carrie Bates with Win Mortimer on the artwork. Yeah, this book first issue also featured Batgirl as a guest star character. Oh, in case you're curious though, was this book collected in a Batgirl book? Nope, not really. It's just a 3-part graphic novel. They like doing this. So, she has teamed up with Superman. Those of you curious, what is base operations here? Metropolis. Yeah, she's going to college. You also have Kurt Suberger basically doing the artwork. Yeah, it's basically like a 2-part story. Like at one point you have, get this, so you have Supergirl apparently dying in one issue, and then it turns out she just, faked her death. Day of Danger. By the way, the cover art for issue number 383 is done by the late Neil Adams and Kurt Swan. You also have Robert Kanigher doing some art writing here with Ed Nelson. Brent got some really good writers here. Good job of basically doing that. And then we have more Superman here. Oh, in case you're curious, so with the Stutman College thing, that was a recurring feature. It's like, yeah, I went to college. Basically, Adventure Comics 318 was the first appearance of this thing. Now, was featured a story featuring Supergirl per se? Yes, it was. Actually, it was in Action Comics. Yep. Yeah, made its debut in Action Comics, and they decided to continue here. And she basically just do this whole thing where she's at school, and of course, basically dealing with other people. And of course, then we have some one-shot characters like Karina. Mixaplick. Yes, he's involved in this book too. Then we have appearance by Earth 387, where Supergirl accidentally gets sent there, and people become wolves in this Earth. Yes. This one does have first appearance of a kid named Volkoby. Volkoby is a character who appeared a couple times in this book. He appeared also in X Comics and a few issues of Superman Family. Who is this guy, per se? Well, he is the nephew of Lex Luthor. That's literally what this guy is. Now, who is his mother? Lena Luthor. Yes. A recurring character for Supergirl. Yep. Yeah, for some reason, basically a lot of the early stories basically feature just having Lex basically so like, yeah, he's a criminal, but he does not want to get his sister involved in this stuff, which is actually quite nice of him to do. And of course, Brynx in here too. Yeah, the whole thing with him being here is, like I mentioned, set up the whole boyfriend storyline. And of course, like I mentioned, 390 is basically the reprint issue. Yeah, and the whole thing with 391, this one is basically a historical note for this one. This is also the last time that you have Supergirl user Linda Lee robots, which were in fact her robots that she featured in Silver Age stuff. My guess is probably the reason why, because we're getting close. We're basically entering almost we're exiting the Silver Age. We're getting close to Bronze Age here. My guess is probably the reason why they said to get rid of them here, because they probably won't need it anymore. That's my personal guess. Also, with 392, we have Carrie Bates taking over the writing duties for this book. And the whole thing with her costume stuff. And then we have multiple stories in this one. And the last story in here, which is August McCall, the first Superman. This is just a reprint. It's just two Supergirl stories to worry about here. Mostly put its take on Mixie again in 394. And 395 deals with the whole prison thing. Of course, Streaky the Cat is here. Comet the horse is here. Yes. Believe it or not, Comet the horse is a guy who transforms into a horse, and she's in love with Supergirl. Excuse me. Yes, there's no denying the fact that Silver Age is weird. There's also appearance here for her fighting General Zod in 395. But so far, aside from, so far in just about 16 issues, we only had 2 historical notes with this thing. 381 was started feature, and 390 was the end of the Linda Lee robots. So far, that's all they know what happened so far with, of course, these issues, per se. Yeah, of course, the usual Supergirl stuff, where it's like time traveling. In 397 is basically, we had the first appearance of Morgana. So in claiming the daughter of Morgan Le Fay, and this comic here was her final appearance. Yep, her final ever appearance. Yes, so they have a character who was associated with Wonder Woman, and she appeared once part of this in issue Wonder Woman, and then she appears in this book here, and she's never seen again. No, seriously. And then we have Nasty Luthor. One of Lex Luthor's nieces. And this issue here is her debut. And she is here for pretty much as a recurring character throughout most of the remainder of the feature. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nasty Luther, she's basically one of Lex's nieces. So, couple minor things here. And more so with Supergirl. So the opening story for 398 is a reprint. But the opening second backup story isn't. Don't really know. It just Supergirl did with more college stuff here. In 399, by the way, Jim Mooney does some artwork here. With Leo Duffman, okay, he does the front story here. So, catching this guy is Mike Sawalski, who's already the artist. Yeah, 399, Ariska's second feature ready. It just basically Supergirl deal with gamblers. And then finally, we issue 400. And it's a single story where she deals with a character named Black Flame. Who is Black Flame, might ask? Why, no, I mean a Supergirl, who basically debuted in Action Comics 304. And, well, if you're curious, she does not make paid appearances. Not really, no. I would say in the case of this book here, the first time she appears in Action Comics 304. Yeah, that was her previous appearance. Which, that was in 1963, and this comic came out in 1970, so this was her first appearance in 7 years. So, why not? Yeah, and eventually she returns to Krypton Chronicles miniseries, which that will be the last we see of her. But that's pretty much it for the moment for Adventure Comics. But good issues. A few historical notes here, but that's kind of it with that one. Alright, next up we have is Man-Bat, Volume 3. This book in particular, excuse me. This book is written by Bruce Jones. Yes, it is. It was written. It came out in 2006, which came out that's a few years prior to me start reading comics for DC. I read a little bit here and there, but I never read this one prior to this one. But yeah, this whole book is like a Man-Bat. And the name of this miniseries is Hush. And also, this book is notorious for this famous image of Man-Bat being so big, and he's like towering over Batman. And if you look at a Wikipedia page of this guy, of that very scene, that's from this very miniseries. Also in Hush, and of course, also it's written in miniseries that the way Bruce Jones writes it, Man-Bat knows Batman is Bruce Wayne. And they are fighting each other, and they also deal with a Flash villain named Murmur. You think, wait, Murmur? Yes, it's a Flash villain who just happened to appear in this miniseries for, get this, the entire thing. Yes, believe it or not, Man-Bat Volume 3 is a 5-issue miniseries. Now, those of you probably thinking, is there any other Man-Bat books besides this one? Like, is there anyone off the cover? Because, well, I've kind of covered, well, before I discuss this, like, is there any other Man-Bat books to cover? In actuality, do you want answers to that? Well, there kind of is one miniseries. Oh, it's also a star, but basically, yeah, there's like one miniseries I'm not really over right now, but for the main Man-Bat book, this is the only book I'm talking about here. Mostly put a lot of this book is just basically Man-Bat dealing with the threat of Hush, and also deal with Batman in here, and of course his wife. Yeah, and it does feature basically his wife and son, which Yeah, and also here's something interesting though. His daughter Rebecca was featured in one of the Batman movies, and for some reason the animators picked at her to look like Harper Row, even though you look at her, that's wait, is that Harper Row? Well, she's based on Harper Row because Harper Row is a girl who likes piercings, and she's an open lesbian. Her brother is openly gay, and he got beaten for it. She, of course, is like it. Also, I read apparently that she had a crush on Batwoman. Yep, I'm not kidding about that. But yeah, she's a featured character, but Rebecca Langston's only in the opening issue, and then she just not here for the rest of the miniseries. Her brother Aaron is he actually made his debut in the previous volume. He's a Chuck Dixon character, and he was featured in one issue. He didn't appear very much in comics per se. It's a very interesting miniseries. At one point, he deals with Black Mask in here. Yeah, he has to do with Black Mask as well. Oh yeah, and the giant Batman is from issue 3. Yep. But really fun miniseries. It's really enjoyable to read. And also, we have a death in this book. David Zabi, who was associated with Black Mask, made his debut in Batman Villains and Origins, Saving Files and Origins 2005, and died in issue 4 of his miniseries. Yeah, Bruce Jones created this character, then he later died. Yep. In issue 4. I mean, that's the most important thing with this miniseries. There's like one minor death, and of course, beats Hush. And it's a pretty interesting miniseries as a whole. Bruce Jones basically does write some good stuff, but this book probably was better than his. I wasn't really a big fan of his Hulk stuff, per se, but I did like this book. Yep. In case you're curious, though, he actually wrote some Batman issues prior to Crisis. Yes, he did. One of his earliest books he ever wrote was a backup feature for Batman that focused on Catwoman. Excuse me, that's interesting. Yep, he wrote some Batman stuff back then. He's even done like a whole mini-series. He did an OMAC mini-series. Excuse me. But nothing to do with OMAC Project. Yeah, he was also a prize writer for Greg Pak on Checkmate. Yes. But not really much else to say about this book. It is quite interesting. And this also is the last of the Man miniseries. I'm not worried about the Batman Man, but that's also a book. So, by a bunch of places, Ragman. Okay, so that's pretty much a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, do that dislike button. Well, I'm going to go ahead and watch Peter grow. Okay? Thanks, you.